What is going on, guys? We are back playing some more Surviving with Thaumcraft 5. Now today, guys, we're going to be working with Essentia distillation just like last episode, but today we're actually going to be getting into some of the more advanced stuff, and it might sound weird, but it's actually going to simplify this whole setup a lot. So it's going to require a little bit more research, but we're not going to have to worry about valves or tubes or any of that stuff anymore. We're actually going to be able to transport the Essentia from the Arcane Alembic to the warded jars or to the void jars, whichever you decide to use, without using any pipes or anything. It's going to use the Essentia Transfuser, and it pretty much just sends it through the air. So it allows a lot of easier setups. They can be a lot more versatile, spread out, all that stuff, and it's actually a lot cheaper too. Along with that, we're also going to be working on adding some slurry pumps to the Essentia smeltery to make it a lot faster and more effective. So we do have a lot of stuff to cover today, and we are going to have to do a little bit of research on camera, but I think it should be pretty darn awesome. Okay, so to start things out for the research today, we're going to continue working in the Alchemy tab, and the first thing we're going to research is going to be improved Essentia distillation. So we can come over here, and this is actually the only research that I have done today for the episode, because this is a prerequisite for a lot of the stuff that we're going to need today, which is going to be the automated alchemy and the Essentia transfusion. So what we need to do is let's take a quick look at this. And this one is a little bit more complicated, not really super complicated, but it is a little bit bigger than a lot of the research that we've been doing previously. But if you guys need to, you can pause the video real quick to get a good view of this, and I'm gonna research that. And this is what's going to allow us to get the slurry pump, which is right here. And these are essentially going to attach to 3 of the sides of the Essentia smeltery. This right here is the front. It won't have any that attach to that, but you can attach it to sides like this that have this little square on it. It's pretty much where you can attach it. It is on the other 2 sides that we can't see right now. And along with that, you can also attach to it the auxiliary venting port. Now these 2 things do different things. So the auxiliary venting port is going to allow you to generate less flux, and as you add more of those, it becomes less effective. But along with that, you can also add the auxiliary slurry pump, which is going to allow the process of getting the Essentia and dispersing it into the warded jars to be a lot faster, which is really nice. And you pretty much are going to throw down the Arcane alembics on top of the slurry pumps that you put around here, and it will pretty much go straight into those, and it will prevent buildup inside the actual Essentia smeltery. So eventually we are going to make probably one of these auxiliary venting ports, but it's really annoying to get the morphic resonator because you do need a tainted shard, so we'll do that a little bit later. But for today, we're just going to be making 2 of the auxiliary slurry pumps, which means we're going to need another 2 arcane alembics on top of that, and that's all good. We're going to continue researching though. So the next thing we need to do is automated alchemy. Now we do have to research this right now, but we're not actually going to use it. So I am going to breeze through this relatively quickly, but we throw this in there, and this one is a really big one. So I'm not actually going to do this on camera. We can stop right here, and then I'll jump back once I have this done. Okay guys, so we are back. The automated alchemy research is complete. It's right here. You guys can pause the video again if you want to get a good view of this, if you need to, stop the video so that you can do the research yourself. But I'm going to grab this out. We can finish researching this. And now if we go back in to the alchemy tab, we have automated alchemy, which again I said we'll get to later, but it is a prerequisite for the Essentia transfusion, which is the aerial Essentia that I've been talking about, which, like I said, simplifies this system a ton because all these valves and tubes and all that just go by the wayside. You don't need them at all. But you see right here, missing research required, and there's nothing else pointing to this thing. So I did have to dive pretty deep into the forums and stuff to figure out what was missing from this, but it turns out that to actually get that research, you need to have the mystical fusion, whatever you want to call it, research, the basic one for that, before you can actually use the aerial Essentia research. So I did go and get that. It should be in our inventory right here. This one was pretty easy to do. I did mess up a little bit down here with how I set it up because of where the blank spaces were, but yours will probably be a little bit easier than this, or you could probably make it a little bit more organized than this one, because down here with the Ignis and Potentia, it got a little bit messed up connecting it to the Cognito, but it is pretty easy to do, and that is that. Again, you can pause the video if you needed to there. We can research that, and now if we go back to the alchemy, you can see we have the ability to get the Essentia transfusion. Now, this one is kind of annoying to do, especially based on where the blank spaces are. There's a lot of stuff in here that you have to connect, so again, I'm going to hop off camera, and then we'll jump back, and it'll be done. Okay guys, so the research is done. I actually got pretty lucky on this one too with how the blank spaces turned out. Not super annoying to make, so pause the video if you need to, and here we go. So, last piece of research that we're going to need to work with today. So if we do click on the Essentia Transfusion one, you can see we get two different things. You get the filling Essentia Transfuser and the emptying Essentia Transfuser. That looks a little weird. It looks like the transfuser should be on the line before that, just like this one. Interesting. Oh, that's a little bit buggy, but no matter. So essentially, these are going to hook up to the Arcane Alembic, and it's going to allow us to not require any of these valves, tubes, any of that. All it needs is to have some of these warded jars within 16 blocks in the direction of the transfuser, and it will allow it to just go straight into any empty jar if there isn't one assigned to that aspect yet, or it'll fill up an existing one. And that is why we are going to do the last thing today. It doesn't require any specific research, just some experience levels. We're going to get void jars, and this will essentially allow us to prevent any backups that might occur if one of these jars does fill up. You can see this one's at 51. I believe they fill up at 64. If that happens, it would either start going to another jar or it wouldn't go anywhere because there's no room for it to go to. And if it backs up in all of them, that's an issue. So the void jars will essentially just get rid of any additional Essentia that you don't need, and it'll allow the Arcane Alembics to put that Essentia somewhere, so it's not just sitting in the Alembic taking up space. So now we got to do a lot of crafting. So I put this chest over here mainly because if you guys have seen any of my other Surviving With series, I always have a chest that I put all the crafting stuff in. So I did one for the research, and now we're going to have one for all the stuff we need to craft. My inventory is pretty messy though, so I am going to dump off a lot of the research stuff down there, and hopefully we will have enough room for what we need here. A lot of it's just going to double up with this. So these are all the resources we are going to need. And you can see there's a lot of separated iron and stuff, so that shouldn't be an issue. I just wanted to make sure that I had everything we were going to need for today. And I did do some crafting off camera a little bit, but not too much. Just, you know, I didn't feel like crafting dispensers on camera and stuff. What we can drop off in here though is we can just drop off some of these gold nuggets that we, you know, will eventually use, but we don't need them right now. So I am going to want to switch in my newer, gosh, get in there, wand. There we go. I do want the better wand just because it'll make things a little bit easier to craft. So we are going to need 3 of these filling Essentia Transfusers because we're going to be adding 2 Arcane Alembics with 2 Slurry Pumps on there. So first thing we need to make is going to be Alchemical Construct. Now we're going to be using, I believe, 5 of these today. So we go to this and we can click that in there. I have everything for 5 of them. I don't think we're going to... Yeah, we're going to need to, after 4 of these, get a little bit more V in our wand. So we can pull that out and swap this one in and grab that. And there we go. This one is slowly filling back up, so we can get the next recipe in there while we wait. So we got those ready to go. So we have the dispenser, all of that. And now we can click these in there. We're not going to need... Yeah, okay, so we do need a lot more V. So we should be able to get... 1 now. We can get 1. That's great. Okay, so this is a little bit slow right here. Wasn't really thinking about this when I started. We'll let this one fill up, then we'll swap them out again. There we go. And then this one can sit here and recharge a lot faster. And then we will get the last one. Yeah, okay, so now we should be able to get the last one. Okay, so there we go. We'll pull both of these out now and start crafting something else. Man, I have way too much meat in my inventory. Why do I have so much meat in here? We don't need like any of that right now. Not even hungry. Okay, so the next thing that we should do is make the slurry pumps so that we can go and hook those up. We are going to have to do a little bit of reorganizing when it comes to this stuff over by the Essentia Smeltery, but first thing we need to do is make the Arcane Bellows. Now, if you didn't research these already, you will need to research them, but they only require experience, so... we can go over, I believe they are under the Artifice tab, and then you go to Arcane Bellows. You can pretty much just click on it with 3 levels, and the only thing that's really important is you can use any type of wood, you need some iron, leather, and you do need an air shard. It can't be any shard, you need an air shard, so keep that in mind. A lot of the recipes have interchangeable shards, but this one does not, so we can take out our better wand and get 2 of the Arcane Bellows. And then, I believe, do I already have the filtered Essentia tubes? I do not. So we need to make 2 of those for... Yeah, we need to make 2 of those for this. It's just going to be an Essentia filter and an Essentia tube. So we need 2 of these. and I believe we'll have to make more of those later, but for the time being, we'll just work with what we have. And now we've got the slurry pumps, so that should be all good. I'll let this recharge a little, and now we need to go make a couple more alembics. So we need 2 more alembics along with that. I guess we're only going to be using plain Essentia filters for the time being, and I think this one should have everything in it that we need. So we got 2 more alembics, and I think we should be good, except for actually making the warded jars into void jars. So we are going to make a couple more warded jars, 12 to be exact, and then we've got 4 that are already being used a little bit, but we're going to turn those into void jars too. So we can make these. We just got to throw in, we'll just throw in this wand right here. There we go. And now we need to go over, we're going to break all of these. I'm actually going to break all of this stuff over here right now because, like I said, we're going to be moving a lot of this around. We're not going to need any of the tubing anymore. Love that noise when you break those. We are going to need a little bit more room over there, but let us see. So there we go. Huh. Oh, okay, so it does keep them filled. I wonder if I can do the same recipe to these. Pretty much the recipe is going to be using obsidian. Okay, so I can. Okay, so I should have had these on my hotbar so they could recharge. It does not take too much, so we should be good to go while that one recharges. Yeah, we'll use this one while the other one charges. Okay, so it does seem to empty them, but that's fine. It's not that much in there. So we can do that and this one really quick, and that will get us 2 void jars. And then we got to do the rest of these, and unfortunately we need to swap between these until we get a better setup for this, which we will work on very soon because this is very slow and kind of tedious. It's not really kind of tedious, it's extremely tedious. Oh, I thought that one would have enough for us. Okay, so this should fill up. This should get us 3, and this one should be able to get us at least 2 more. And give me the last one right here. Let's go. There we go. Okay, now we're done with all the crafting. Do not worry, we have finished the crafting. So we're going to break this arcane alembic and axe it is a little bit faster. I did make 20 more alumentum, so we should be good to go for today. And what we're going to do is, I guess we can put this over, we can actually just put it right here. We need to move it out one from the wall because of how we're going to be setting this up. And if I have any stone over here, we can grab that and fill in the wall just because this is going to bother me. Eventually I will be moving this, expanding on the base a lot, but for now we're just trying to get the basics down. So the alumentum can go back in there and we can grab the auxiliary slurry pumps. Now if I walk around, you can see that these 3 sides all look the same, and that is where we can attach any of the auxiliary things. So we're going to do a slurry pump here, a slurry pump here, and we'd have a venting port here eventually. Now what we can do is take the arcane alembics and go 1, 2, 3. So that should be perfect there, and now it'll be a lot faster when we actually throw something in there, which I will do eventually. I'm going to try and find something that'll have 3 different, oh, I guess, no, I don't want to get rid of the cooked chicken is the problem. Yeah, I guess we'll find something when we actually finish setting this up. But what we need to do now is, I guess we can set up the void jars for the time being. We will put these back here. They do look a little bit cooler. Eventually I'm going to move this crucible setup too, but for now we can just do 9 of them. And oh, I guess I should have thought this through a little bit better. So we're going to be taking these 3 filling Essentia transfusers and we're going to be throwing them back here. So I do need to break these real quick. So we're going to throw it 1, 2, 3. So they go on the arcane alembics. They do not need to go onto the void jars. And now it should be able to wirelessly or through the air. I guess saying wirelessly is a lot easier to kind of get the concept of it. It pretty much does not require a connection between these 2 to actually fill the void jars. So now we can actually throw stuff in here. So let's see what we should throw in there. What do we not need? I guess no, that one's got a ton of aspects to it, but we actually need that. So you know what we can do? We can just throw a couple different things in there. We can throw some cobble in there. We can throw I don't have anything that we can throw some bones in there because why not? We can throw some eggs in there because we don't need those. Ooh, we can throw some of that. We can throw that flour in there. That's good. Throw that in there, and you can see, I guess, okay, so this is the cool part right here. You can see they have awesome animations, and it pretty much just flies through the air into these void jars, which is great. So the next thing we can throw in there is going to be some cobble, and it's able to extremely quickly empty this so there is no buildup, and yeah, we're going to be making a lot of flux, which is why we eventually will want the auxiliary venting port. But you can see, look at this awesome animation. It's filling up the void jars, and it's able to come out of all of these because each of these is only able to hold one aspect, but because we've got 3 of them, it's able to deal with pretty much all of them. Eventually, you would want more because certain things will have like 4 or 5 aspects, but I think we'll be fine with this for the time being. I do think this looks really cool though. So like I said, you're able to do the void jars for a distance of 16. Any further, and these Essentia Transfusers will not be able to detect them and will not be able to send it to them. But we got through all those. Now we can throw some bones in there, because why not? Just fill all of these up, have some fun with it. I probably should be kind of thinking of what I'm actually going to be using when it comes to infusion, so that we're not wasting these void jars, because there are a lot of different aspects that I need to make jars for. But eventually we're going to want to set up where these are all around the infusion altar, and this slurry pump will be able to fill these up, and then these will be able to be used for the infusion altar. So that's the idea behind this. We'll be getting to infusions pretty soon. I do want to make some of the cool boots that you can, the boots of the traveler that Etho always loves. I want to get some better armor, all that good stuff, but we'll save that for next episode. So I hope you guys found the episode useful, informative. If you did find it entertaining or informative in any way, feel free to give it a like, as it does help me out a lot. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to post them in the comments. I know this stuff is something that a lot of people have questions about, and it's kind of one of the first difficult things you might run into when it comes to Thaumcraft, so do not worry about asking. Feel free to ask as many as you want, and I will talk to you guys later.